far back as 2019, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us this opportunity to serve the people of Sokoto State. You have always been there together, hand in gloves, together with the Ministry of Finance, to make sure Sokoto State is always at the top when it comes to finance issues across Nigeria. Due to your support, Sokoto State became it took the first position in Nigeria with regards to the state's transparency, fiscal accountability and sustainability program, which you all know as SIFTES. That feat could not have been achieved without your support. And together, God willing, with your support, here we are again targeting another sum of dollars that Sokoto State got only yesterday with regards to this SIFTES. Mr. Chairman, like I said, I have a written speech, so permit me to go through this, what I've drafted before this very honorable House and very important committee. The Ministry of Finance, as we all know, is charged with the responsibility of managing the government financial assets and public funds. It's also charged to provide policies and guidelines for the stimulation development of the state's economic and financial policies, collecting and disbursing government revenue, formulating policies on taxation, tariffs, fiscal management, etc. Preparing and managing annual accounts for the state MDAs and managing state debt. On this note, permit me to go on the overview of the 2021 budget performance. The total budget size for the year 2021 for both capital and recurrent expenditures stood at 205,016,512,295.41, representing a total capital expenditure of 120,478,362,589 naira 18 kobo, and recurrent expenditure of 84,538,149,706 naira 23 kobo respectively. At the end of the third quarter, 39,325,441,226.64 kobo was expanded as capital expenditure, representing 32.6%, while the sum of 49,543,739,486 naira 42 kobo was expended as a total recurrent expenditure, representing 58.6%. In total, actual expenditures at the end of third quarter 2021 was 88,869,180,753 naira 6 kobo, as against the total budget size of 205 billion, 16,512,295.41 kobo. This represents 43%, 43.3% of the actual performance as at September 30, 2021. The expenditure performance is due to the delay in the receipt of capital development receipts in respect of 8 grants and loans financing. With the revenue performance at 62.3% at the end of quarter 3, which was due to inflow of 30 billion financing towards the end of the quarter and is planned to be devoted in the fourth quarter to capital projects, our budget performance as at the end of November has exceeded 70%. We hope to exceed 85% budget performance by end of 2021, inshallah. So far, the successes and the challenges so far in the Ministry of Finance during the year under review the Ministry of Finance was able to record significant achievement in the following areas: revenue generation and administration, increased revenue collection, the appointment of new 4 executive directors and the chairman of the Sokoto Internal Revenue Service, the full implementation of the new Revenue Law 2019, staff recruitment and training, new enhanced salary scale of management and staff, procurement of utility vehicles, provision and furnishing of temporary office complex, full automation of revenue collections and processes, new data captured, provision of new laptop computers, non-cash collection and payment of revenue, award of contract for the construction of the new revenue house. data capture of Keke Napep and Okada riders, and subsequent collection of daily payment tickets from operators of both associations. Study on the onion market in Sokoto State operations, which is ultimately a big, huge revenue for the state. From the data we have, Sokoto State accounts for almost 50% of the onions in Nigeria, and that is almost getting to 250 billion naira of that amount. So we are going to enhance that market for this revenue to come to the state. Recovery and payment of the state government back duty liability, which was paid actually on the second day of this year, tunes of about 1.8 billion. The salary restructuring process, which was initiated in September 2019, continued to yield dividends for the state to date. As a result, the state following achievements has been recorded this year. The end-to-end payment system using a payments gateway is continuing to yield huge dividend. In that an initial upload, the system is able to pay more than 99.8% of all staff on payroll as of today. Proper control and timely removals of retired, dead staff and payroll has continued to allow government to continue recruiting new staff in areas of critical needs, thereby providing additional employment to our teeming youth, and at the same time providing essential services to people of the state. In the year under review, Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, 3,000 new staff have been employed and 800 have been removed from the payroll. The restructuring process has also enhanced the efficiency of the department, as salaries are now paid not earlier in the month, in most cases on the 23rd and 25th of each month. The debt management department, like you all know, Mr. Chairman, honorable members, was restructured in line with the national standard to enhance effective and efficient operations. The department, in conjunction with us and the Ministry of Finance, are responsible for procuring and contracting loans on behalf of the states. The achievement so far from that department is that liabilities arrears clearance framework, as designed and implemented, is being a very success story. The implementation output include but not limited to the following. As of today, we have zero salary and pension liabilities. Backlog of NECO and WAEC, substantial amount been paid. Overseas students tuition and maintenance of fees settled. Backlog of 233,397,757 naira. Culminated registration fees for Sokoto State indigenous at the Sokoto State University has been paid. 342,161,000 culminated registration fees for the state indigenous at the Usman Danfodio University has been paid. 2.4 billion approved annually for clearance of backlog of contracts and gratuity, and debt sustainability has been paid. Sokoto State debt sustainability is sound to accommodate our liabilities and other obligations. The state is among the least indebted states in Nigeria, with the following burden indicators as of December 31st, 2020. And the indicators here shows that the debt as a percentage of the GDP, the threshold of 25%, and the current position of 2.37%, and the gap is 22.63%. We have the debt as percentage of the revenue, which is at 200%, and the current position ratio is 69.65%, and the gap is 130.35%. This debt service as percentage of the revenue as at now is 40%, and the current position of the state is 22.45%, while the gap is 17.55%. The government's sub-treasury is a section of the Ministry of Finance, Treasury, which is controlled and supervised by the Accountant General, has been moved from the old office, now being accommodated in the Ministry of Finance, and because that office is part of the place that is being constructed to accommodate the new revenue house. With the current system of electronic payment, the Sokoto State Government Sub-Treasury is now capable of paying salary, pension, and allowances to civil and public servants within shortest possible time, real time, as at when due. The government sub-treasury was able to train most of its staff on the current operation and techniques of electronic payment, as we are now on a cash management strategies. Provision of temporary offices at the Ministry of Finance, like I said earlier, has been made for sub-treasurer and other staff. The Sokoto State government, earlier mentioned by myself, is already constructing the new revenue house. Still in the Ministry of Finance, like we all know, the PFMU, he introduced himself, but I think the Deputy Speaker asked, what is the PFMU? So I want to highlight the PFMU is the Project Financial Management Unit, which coordinates all the donor, World Bank, and the other projects within the state. And so far, through that department, the impact project that we are seeing in the Ministry of Health, a counterpart funding of 30 million has been paid to the state. And also, they are accommodated within the Ministry of Finance, in the headquarters, the PFMU unit. The PFMU operates in the 23 local government area in the state. Part of the project highlighted earlier, 244 health facilities are being worked on under the PFMU. Like you know, the new map, which is what is going on in Mabera, is in partnership with the PFMU. They oversee the accounts and most of the payments in that place. And the new map project, which you all know, is about 19.5 kilometers between Tudunwada and Mabera. Like we all know, based on the report coming in, the drainage network has reached 80% completion. Design for rehabilitation of Wulno Dam is part of what they are doing together under the new map. The design of Sangina Town drainage has also been completed in partnership with the PFMU. Also under the PFMU, we have the RAM project, which has to do with the rural roads across the 23 local governments, which God willing we are expected to start by God's grace before the year runs out. And it's all, the idea is identification and mapping of 500-kilometer roads across the state in partnership with the World Bank, the French Development Bank. So far, there have been a selection of 9 local government areas for construction of Sokoto Modern Market under the same program. They have also procurement of 5 new vehicles. Then finally, Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues, on this note, I would like to go back to where I started, which is regarding the SIFTAS project. Like we all know, SIFTAS, when it started, there was no COVID. In the course of COVID, SIFTAS brought additional funding. And we all know what COVID has done to the world, not only Nigeria. For the very first time in the history of Nigeria, we had a time where almost about 3 months, the whole country was under lockdown. And locking down, we all know economically what that means to us. In the course of COVID, the global economy came into upside down and there was no money to do anything globally. And I stand here to be corrected before everybody. All states in Nigeria were finding it difficult to pay salaries. The majority of the states in the era of COVID reversed to 18,000 minimum wage. And we find out the details are there. Not only that they reversed to 18,000 minimum wage, in the course of that, they stopped a lot of allowances and payments. But here I stand tall, and I stand proud of His Excellency Right Honorable Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, who, against all challenges, maintained the 30,000 minimum wage and maintain all the allowances of all political office holders in Sokoto State without reducing a dime from anybody. So on this note, irrespective of the challenges that we are facing in Nigeria, Sokoto State has been healthy, it's been steady. That is one part of it. Not only being there, today in the northern part of the country, I stand again to be corrected. Governor Tambuwal, Your Excellencies, or distinguished honorable members, with your partnership, he's been able to achieve a huge legacy project in Sokoto State. Irrespective of the economic challenges, the hardship that we are facing, the scarce resources, His Excellency has been able to bring about legacy projects that, God willing, not only us, our great-grandchildren will benefit from what we are seeing there. He's on record today. He's the first governor, with your collaboration, that has been able to bring 3 bridges at the same time. To the best of my knowledge, what we have in Mole, Tasha Mole, is a bridge that is going on there, so it's considered a bridge even on writing. And we have the bridge at Rinjin Sambo, and we have the one in Angoru. So, your honorable members, I think, based on this, you can tell that we are in a serious crisis in the country, but at the same time, His Excellency has been able to manage the resources together with partnership with your good self and us in the Ministry of Finance. And on this note, I would like to highlight the fact that we go in, month in, month out, so far this year, the FAC has been able to be less than 50% performance. So to the best of our knowledge, all commissioners of finance will know that most times we go for FAC meeting and you come back, states are not even able to pay salaries. But Sokoto, because of what he has done to the Internal Revenue Service and what he's been able to do, they have been able to get as much resources to augment whatever we come in from FAC, so that at least we make up with the salary demands of the people of Sokoto State, which happens to be His Excellency's topmost priority. And on this note, distinguished honorable members, honorable commissioner colleagues, I will leave my opening remarks here. In the course of discussion, I will continue else. Thank you very much for this opportunity.